This lesson will be a little bit more advanced grammatic. However, the more advanced will be not the understanding or some concepts within this grammatic, but more the feeling of the language. How do you perceive the language, and how do you accept certain meanings within the language? So it's more about your experience of speaking or learning Russian, understanding Russian, rather than from the scope of your understanding what I will tell you. And it will be a kind of short lesson with quite few examples which will be useful for you anyway, even though if you probably wouldn't be able to use it in such nuanced way as I will present it to you. However, the words which will be presented will be absolutely useful, and those are words from the frequency tables of 500 most used words. So let's work. Well, this lesson will also continue just as a small addition, previous two lessons of adjectives and of nouns, of gender of nouns, and the adjustment of the gender of noun to the adjective, actually to the adjectives ending to the gender of noun. So, do you remember the endings of adjectives? Those were ui, oi, and I. And we could also have replaced them, so those were adjectives endings which would describe masculine nouns. We could also adjust them to feminine or to neutral, then the endings would become aya for feminine if we want to describe a feminine noun, or oye if we would like to describe a neutral noun. And for some endings, for example, ni, we could have, again, for masculine ending, which is a special case of I, the endings would become for feminine yaya, and for neutral ye. If you cannot remember this, please go back to one lesson before or two lessons before and repeat this. Those are very important concepts. So, and what do I want to tell you now in this lesson? How can I extend this concept a little bit more? Well, in this lesson I want to tell you that there are some words which look like adjectives, however, those words might be also nouns. How is it possible? Is it so difficult? No, it's not difficult. Don't worry, you will understand it from the context of what you are saying or somebody else is saying. However, it's important to know that such concept is existent. And the best example for this would be русский. Русский, written as русский, however pronounced as русский with one S. Don't worry if you cannot remember this and pronounce it with double S. Absolutely fine, Russians will understand you. Русский, we learned русский as Russian, as adjective, and actually it ends in «и». And русский, let's take человек. Человек. Русский человек, Russian man, or Russian person, Russian human. Ends in consonant, is masculine. So русский is the right adjective to describe человек. But if we would want to say the Russian nationality, for example, I am Russian, I would say я русский, meaning I am of Russian nationality. So русский, ки, can also be nationality, Russian person, so Russian. And because we know now Russian человек, русский человек, and Russian as nationality, let's work on the female. So what would be the Russian nationality for a woman? First woman is женщина. Женщина. Женщина is woman, ends in a, most likely to be female, feminine. However, because женщина, it's woman, it can only be female in Russian. And do you remember how to make a description word, Russian woman? We already got русский in the dictionary form. We just remove last two letters and replace them with the feminine version of it. Aya. Русская женщина, Russian woman. Русская is adjective describing a female person, женщину. So, and how would we say Russian woman as nationality? Russian nationality woman? Русская. Русская. So русская describes the nationality Russian for a woman. And you can see also aya. It's definite feminine ending. This is how you could understand where it comes from, or more or less coming from. So if you see aya on a noun, you might guess it's adjective. You might be right, but it is also a female noun. So let's continue with some more examples. And the next one would be ученый. 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 Ученый might be educated. So, ученый человек. Человек is educated person. Educated human. But here it's educated person. But if we would use ученый in certain contexts or a separated word to referring to somebody, ученый. Я ученый, он ученый. Scientist. So, the educated person becomes scientist. Ученый. So here I also want to give you an interesting rule of pronunciation, which I already gave you in the phonetic section, but I will repeat it for you now. Ученый. If you got yo in a word, you always emphasize on yo. This is one of the easy rules to remember. So, ученый. If you got yo, always the emphasis in the word falls on yo. Ученый. Ученый. Now let's work on feminine, because we got masculine forms. This would be masculine, this feminine, masculine, now feminine. Столовая. Столовая ends in aya. Well, here I am disagreeing with some linguists or some teachers of Russian language, because some people put it in the section of describing words, so of adjectives. Because столовая could be also столовая комната. Комната. But столовая комната and столовая are synonymous. Столовая. So, столовая is dining room. Столовая комната is dining room. Namely because комната is dining room. Комната is feminine, and комната is general room. So if you want to describe a room, the room I'm sitting in, for example, now it's a room, комната. Столовая комната can only be dining room, as well as столовая implies that you're in столовая комната. It might be also a big столовая, a big dining building. So you can take it as describing. However, you can describe only only the room, or as noun and adjective. Столовая, for me it's noun. So next one would be ванная. Again, it would be feminine. Ванная. Ванная. And again, we can put комната. Then ванная would be describing the room. However, it's a compound of two words which are saying it's a bathroom. So ванная. Ванная, important word for you, learn it. Ванная. Столовая, also important word, especially if you will be a student in Russian and you don't want to cook and you don't want to spend lots of money on buying food. You might want to go to столовая. However, from what I know and from my experience, the столовая in Russian universities might be subordinate quality kind of food. But I'm not generalizing this. There might be some better столовая at other universities. Then another word which looks like adjectives and might be used as adjective would be набережная. На-бе-ре-ж-на-я. Набережная. And then ая could be adjective, and sometimes it's used as adjective to describe street. Улица. Набережная улица is embankment. So the street which follows the coast, or like the river of the sea, and it's a perfect place to go out in Russia, probably in all around the world. But if you come to a city with a river or with the sea, Russians will invite you to go along набережная. Набережная is an important word and important concept for Russian social life. However, if they will invite you to walk along набережная, they would invite you just to набережная, because it's noun. На-бе-ре-ж-на-я. Набережная. So, embankment. And some more words, because we got feminine and masculine now of the neutral. Второе. Второе, you can describe anything second of the neutral gender. However, второе, it's reserved more or less to a second course. So, second part of the meal, second course. And горячее. 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 So, it's a hot part of the meal, so the main course of the meal. Второе, горячее. And if you want to emphasize that we got a course, so a meal, it would be блюдо. Блюдо. So, второе or горячее, these are describing words. However, they could be used as second course or first course. And one very, very, very important word, at least for me and for many people I know, is мороженое. Мороженое. Мороженое is ice cream. So it's a noun reserved for ice cream. However, мороженое could be anything which is frozen and in the neutral gender. So you can describe with мороженое anything, any noun, any word which is in a neutral gender and which is frozen. For example, мороженое озеро. Озеро. It cannot be actually мороженое озеро. So you cannot describe lake. Because there is another word which is for this. However, if you would say мороженое озеро, for example, I made this mistake. You can do this. Мороженое is reserved for ice cream. So, now let's repeat those adjectives and nouns at the same time. So it's very useful. You learned both a noun, an adjective, and a new concept in the Russian language. Perfect. Русский человек. Russian person. Русский человек. And русский, it's person of the Russian nationality. Русская женщина. Can you understand where this aya coming from? Because we got a feminine noun. Женщина, woman. Русская женщина is Russian woman. And русская, in certain contexts or separately, meaning Russian, the woman of Russian nationality. Русская. Ученый человек is educated person. Ученый is educated, adjectives describing person. However, if you use ученый separately or in certain contexts, ученый is scientist. And a small rule, if you got yo in the word, it's easy to find emphasis. You need to emphasize on yo. Ученый. Столовая комната is dining room. Столовая is synonymous with столовая комната is dining room. Столовая can also be столовая as the building of like a mensa. So столовая is mensa actually in the university. So столовая. Ванная. Ванная is bathroom. Ванная комната is bathroom. Ванная is bathroom. However, here it's used as adjective. Here it's used as noun. Ванная in certain context, but in most of the context, would be bathroom. Набережная улица and набережная. Embankment. The street which follows the coast. Very important word. Набережная. Второе and горячее блюдо would be second course and first course, the warm meal and second meal of second part of the meal, or the warm part of the meal. And мороженое as ice cream, but also as something which was frozen. Мороженое. And for now, I just want to give you a few examples how to use, for example, adjective or noun or adjective noun, the noun which was derived from adjective in small sentences. First one, which will be, let's take educated Russian. Ученый русский. Ученый русский. Русский. Ученый русский is educated Russian. Well, it could be also русский ученый, so Russian scientist, or ученый русский, educated Russian. How can we understand which one is meant in this sentence? Absolutely no way to understand this. So if you see the sentence separately, you cannot understand what is it saying about, if it's educated Russian or Russian scientist. How do you need to deal with this? You cannot really deal if it's just two words. But once you come across this ученый русский in the context of a sentence or of a text, absolutely no problem. You will understand it straight away. Assuming you understand the text you're reading, the words and the concepts inside, then you understand straight away what is the text speaking about. So don't worry about this. Just take it as it is right now, and especially you learn a new word, ученый, and русский. Русский is nationality, and русский is adjective. Ученый as educated, and ученый as scientist. Next one would be famous scientist. Do you remember how to say famous? It was известный. Известный. Известный ученый. Ученый. So, известный ученый is famous scientist. No doubts in this. There is no ambiguity in the meaning of this two words. It speaks about famous scientist. Известный ученый. One small thing about известный, I already told you in a previous lesson, we are eating this T. Its pronunciation rule, известный. And you could pronounce it известный. I mean, you could, if you don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Don't worry about this. Many Russians even pronounce it this way. I know one particular person who speaks известный instead of известный. So Russians will absolutely understand you. Now let's a big dining room or big mensa. Большая столовая. Большая столовая. Столовая. Большая столовая. Большая is big. Столовая is dining room or mensa. Столовая is now used as noun. No question on this. Ends in aya, so it's feminine. And we need to adjust our adjective большой to столовая. It becomes большая. Ой ends in aya. Большая. Большая столовая. Next one would be delicious ice cream. Important combination. Delicious ice cream would be вкусное мороженое. Вкусное is delicious. Вкусное мороженое. Мороженое. Вкусное мороженое. This K is not supposed to be this long. Вкусное мороженое. Delicious ice cream. Again, мороженое could be used as adjectives. However, here it's a definite noun. And мороженое, if anybody will speak about мороженое, to 99% possibilities, they are speaking about ice cream. Especially if you see вкусное in front of this, delicious, then there is no question, it's about мороженое. Вкусное мороженое. Столовая, also, probably to 99% is used as dining room or mensa to 100%. And большая столовая, big dining room. Известный ученый. Ученый is not that clear, because ученый could be educated. However, in известный ученый, famous scientist, no question about this, it's famous scientist. And ученый русский, there is a certain ambiguity in this. Famous Russian, educated Russian or a Russian scientist. It could be both. Especially if we will replace them, because we know that in Russian language the word order does not matter that much, so it could be русский ученый or ученый русский, meaning Russian scientist or educated Russian in both ways.